Okay, everybody, it is still me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Monday, December 27, 2021. This is my post-market wrap-up. And how about this? A nice day on Wall Street, a new all-time record high for the S&P 500. Let me see your shocked face. No, not for you, because I explained to all of you at the beginning of the month that we would see record highs for this market, and here we are yet again. I want to talk more about that as well here. But before we get there, so let me cover a few more things. As I explained to you earlier today, well, this today is the big kickoff for the Santa Claus rally here, and it was a nice day. All 11 sectors of the market finished in the green. All three major indices higher. Again, new record high for the S&P 500, and no surprise to any one of you, especially my Lions out here. My Lions, I love all of you guys and girls. I love all of you, period, the end. But my Lions, you guys, I really have been keeping you well fed, haven't I? With my free stock picks that show up in your email box every Monday. You got 2 more today. I'm telling you about the banks. As a matter of fact, let's talk about the banks here. I've explained to you all recently that I really do like the banks here, specifically JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. Look for these banks to take off moving forward here, people. Always do your own research, but just check my track record and you will see that I'm not right all the time. But the vast majority of the time, it's pretty frightening, even to myself. Anyway, people, so with that said, a new record high in the market. What else happened today? What really turned the market around? Crude oil. Crude oil surged higher today. Again, I told you in the video this morning, crude's going much higher. Well, now we're at just about $76 a barrel, going much higher as well. Crude oil is the fuel of the market for the most part, like on a day like today. You see cash piling into crude, you're going to see stocks gain. Energy, the entire energy sector, the financial sector, you know how this is. The easy money is not going to stop. No, people, nobody is in a better spot than you and I with regard to this market. I'm not just talking about the stock market, people. We got this thing covered like on an epic scale. You know, I want to talk about some of that too in a moment. But before I get all crazy here, let's look at other reasons why this market rallied today. Again, it's the phenomenon of the market. The Santa Claus rally was just got kicked off today. Lovely. Crude oil, 10-year yield stable, yield curve looking good. Dollar actually weakened. The relative strength of the dollar weakened throughout the day, although it did finish in the green. But it's not a bad setup here. As I said earlier this morning, not a bad setup for the market. And we are going to continue to buy the dips moving forward. And we're going to laugh in the freaking face, literally, of everyone who tells us, duh, you shouldn't be buying the dips in the market. No, we've only been right for how many years now? Yeah, a really, really long time. And it's made many of us, well, let's be honest, quite wealthy buying the dips here, pulling profits out of this market, allocating those profits into other assets, cryptocurrencies, physical metals here. Gold and silver did well today. Bitcoin over 51,000. It seems like some of you out here, and it makes me laugh. I have to be frank with you. Look, I'm always honest, sometimes to a fault. But it seems like there's that crowd over here, that very misinformed crowd that still does not see the light no matter how many times you tell them about cryptocurrencies. They don't get it. I said earlier today, and I've been telling you this for the longest time, that cryptocurrencies, in my view, need to be in your portfolio. Cryptocurrencies, to me, are clearly risk-off assets. Some of you will like laugh out loud. Duh, I'm a retard. I don't know what that means. I'm going to laugh at Greg because he's an idiot. No, really? Let's see. Why does Greg Mannarino feel that cryptocurrencies are a risk-off asset? What are risk-off assets? Let's define that. Risk-off assets are assets or asset classes, which again are devoid in many ways of counterparty risk, unlike the stock market, which is risk on. And in a clear risk on environment, what happens? Cash piles into the stock market because it's searching for yield. People have now borrowed beyond their eyeballs to participate in this rally in the market, which is absolutely out of control, makes no sense, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. All we're doing is capitalizing on the fake market. Now, with regard to risk off, things like physical gold, physical silver, and cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, you own these things. They're not owned by a central bank. They're not issued back to a central bank. And I am pretty darn certain that cryptocurrencies, with regard to Bitcoin being 51,000, you haven't seen anything yet. When this environment turns risk off, okay, what does that mean? That means that cash is going to leave the stock market. It's going to look for places to go. It's going to bleed out of the debt market first, okay? I've explained to you that we are eventually going to suffer an implosion in the debt market, which is going to lead to a resource problem and a great loss of human life. There's no doubt about that. Forget about dog shit COVID or anything else like that. This is going to be biblical. But again, when we get that implosion here in the debt market and debt starts to sell off and yields start to spike, what's going to happen? It couldn't be easier to understand. When rates spike like that, at an uncontrolled pace, central banks can't do a damn thing about it, nor do they want to. This is all by design. It's going to melt down the stock market. And cash, again, where does cash go? Does it really disappear like a miracle into money heaven, or does it simply move from one reality into another reality? That's all cash does. It's something called the fluidity of money. Okay, I wrote a brief on this a long time ago. Ironically, I don't have it anymore. It's not in my computer. But if you have a copy of Fluidity of Money by Greg Mannarino, let me know about it because I'd like to have it back. Anyway, with that said, people, so when this happens, again, you're going to get cash bleeding out of the debt market on a massive scale. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the stock market. Cash is just going to look for places to go. In my view, it's going into commodities and it's going into cryptocurrencies. Henceforth, why? In Greg Mannarino's view, cryptocurrencies are risk off. You see, it's so funny. It's these same people who criticize me when I say something like that who don't even own a fraction of a Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency whatsoever. They've completely missed the boat, but they're experts on it. They are experts on the crypto space. Meanwhile, they don't own any of it. Well, had they listened to Greg Mannarino, let's see, years ago, when Bitcoin was like 2,700, 3,000, when I said, hey, you know what? It's time to buy. I said, buy it again at 5,000. I said, buy it again at 10,000. I said, buy it again at 15,000. I said to buy it again at 41,000. We're at 51,000. It's these same people who continue to miss the boat, and they always will, because they can't think outside the box. They want to be stuck, I guess, in a fiat currency. And they think that's well and good. I have people that actually write to me, hey, Greg, why should we participate in the beast system of the stock market? Well, maybe you should consider, do you transact in Federal Reserve notes or a central bank issued note? Well, you are at the core of the beast system if you do that. But no, the stock market's a different thing. Duh. You can't make this stuff up. Brain dead. That's all I have to say is brain freaking dead. Anyway, people, let's touch on a few things here. I already covered about cryptos being risk off. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't touch the space, get out of the market, go work at, flipping burgers or sweeping the street, because that's probably all your brain can handle, okay? I understand that what I cover may include a little bit of abstract thinking from time to time, but it's not that hard. But again, here in the United States especially, the dumbing down of the population is absolutely complete. People literally cannot walk through time and space and think a thought. They can't walk and chew gum at the same time. And these kinds of people wonder why their lives are miserable, why they can't pay their bills, why they're buried in debt, because the system is designed against you. But I'm here trying to enlighten all of you as to what you can do about it. You don't like Greg Mannarino? That's fine. You don't like his attitude? I don't give a damn. I really don't. This channel is for winners. You all know that. Losers can leave through the back door. All of you. Whoever you might be out here. I don't need you here. My lions and my friends don't want you here. So if you can't handle Greg Mannarino, just go the freak away. Thank you for listening. Now, let us move forward here because we've got some interesting information. This is insane. Are you ready for this one? So new home construction costs, no surprise to you yet again, have now hit a 50-year high. Actually, at least a 50-year high. Now, this plays right into the surging inflation situation that we are in, and it's not going to stop. We got another warning today from the IMF. In fact, let's talk about that. This is a warning that we got today from the IMF. What did we find out just like 3 weeks ago from the IMF? The IMF said that global debt, everyone for your information, just hit a new record high. Well, the IMF came out today explaining that yet again, global debt has now hit, I'm reading this, a new all-time record high, and they went on to say they are concerned that the current situation is not sustainable. What's happening, people? What's going on now? Well, we're seeing inflation surge at its fastest pace in history. We're watching an entire wipeout of the middle class, a new demographic, extreme haves, extreme have-nots, and this is how this is manifesting itself. Just like I said would happen from over a decade ago. How many of you heard me tell you a new feudal system is coming? A feudal system, haves and have-nots, extremes on both ends, like for an entire decade? Hello? Yeah, well, here it is. So you have to understand, let's read between the lines here. What is the IMF explaining? That the debt is in a hyperbubble? Yeah, like Greg Mannarino and you are well aware of, and it's not going to stop. Central banks around the world have no interest whatsoever, and nor can they stop fueling the debt bubble until that moment when they're ready to allow this whole thing to implode. And we will have clues, like I always tell you. See, we're not flying blind. Most people have no idea whatsoever about what's going on in the financial markets. But all you got to do is, number one, is to watch the debt market. The debt market is the fuel for this entire thing. And central banks continue to inflate and inflate and inflate, and with no end in sight. No taper is going to happen, nothing meaningful. No cutting back on asset purchases, anything meaningful. No rate hikes, anything meaningful. They can't stop, nor do they want to. Central banks are not done fulfilling their end game to become the lender and buyer of last resort, to own the world. You know that we now have a one world government run by the central banks. We all knew this was coming, but it's here now. You're not supposed to know that, but that's the truth. So here we have the IMF warning about global debt surging to a new record high, and it will be higher next week and next month. But we're going to keep our eye on the yield curve, the 10-year yield, the dollar value, the relative dollar value. We're going to be watching crude oil and the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator. We got this covered from every single angle. Every angle. We can't be beaten, like I've been telling you for the millionth freaking time. So again, we're hearing from our, illustrious retard president about, how he's going to, build America back, whatever he is. But what he's not telling you is it's going to cost trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars more. So his Biden's borrow more agenda is at the behest of the Federal Reserve. Every president does the same thing. Trump did it, and so did Obama. They continue to borrow from the Fed to keep the Fed, again, at the top of that pyramid. The Fed is the government. We have no real government for the people anymore. So what could you expect under Biden's more debt agenda, which is the same as the last president and the one before that? Is inflation to skyrocket, much, much worse than it is now, and you can expect debts and deficits to balloon. That's the nature of the debt-based economic model, something you all know about. Now, before this video gets stupidly long, again, I got all kinds of stuff I'd like to talk about, but like I said, these videos do get kind of long from time to time. So we're hearing from a Wall Street super bank, JP Morgan, about a January effect. How many of you out here even know what that is? Well, if you're one of my lions, you probably do. January effect, very, very simple. Expect the stock market to climb in January. Now, look, With regard to Santa Claus rallies and January effects and all whatever kind of nonsense titles they want to put on things, it doesn't matter to you and me. What we're looking at is dynamics. What are the dynamics driving the market? Debt continues to surge. That is a major driver here. We all know that, and it's not going to stop. So we will continue to stick to our strategy, buy every single dip in everything moving forward. Like the dip in crude we had recently down to $60 or something along those lines, 61. We're now again at 75. Had you listened to Greg Mannarino and bought that dip, well, you did pretty damn good. Look, it's not going to stop. If we understand that nothing is what it seems to be, and you and I can clearly understand what the end game is of central banks, where this is going, our lives cannot be easier. We weaponize the system. Okay, for those of you out here who wonder, really, why is Greg advocating to be in the beast system? But they're not, because they transact in fiat currencies. That's not the beast system. That's not the Federal Reserve owned beast system. Oh, duh, yes it is. Okay, but what we're doing, myself and my freaking lions out here, is weaponizing the system against the freak show. What better way can you win than that? We know what they're going to do before they freaking do it. So you're going to tell me you don't want to capitalize on this? You want to sit back and be sheared like a sheep? Good for you. Me and my lions are going to eat you alive. We're going to rip your freaking face off. That's the truth. Look, I told all of you recently, I consider myself a relatively nice guy. I really do. And I will bend over backwards and forwards and sideways to help anybody. That's the truth. But do not get in my way with regard to this market or with regard to trading, because you're going to lose. You're going to lose. I don't want anyone to lose. I want us all to be on the same page. I want us all to understand what we're doing and why we are doing it. You understand? Anyway, look, with that said, I love all of you. Please share this video. Get it out there. I want to hear from you. Did I say anything in this video that is shocking to you? Are you one of those non-believers in crypto still? After all these freaking years, you still don't get it? Are you one of those? I feel very bad for you. I really, really do. Because you missed out on quite a run, but I don't think it's over. I really don't think it's over. So there's still time for you. Should you expect volatility in the crypto space if you decide to get in? I think that requires another duh. Yeah, it's very volatile. But that does not mean that we're not going much, much higher with regard to cryptocurrencies. Gold and silver are not even close to being realized with their value. Again, debt market implosion is going to change everything. We're going to see cash move from one reality into another. Commodities, gold, silver, crude oil, cryptocurrencies, in my view, are going to reach price highs in their price action that people are not going to believe. So it's not too late to get in on this whole freaking freak show yet. Okay? And when it is too late, believe me, I'm going to let you know. But we are not there yet. All right, look, before I continue to blab away, I'm going to get going. Love all of you. Mean that. I really, really do. And I'll see you tomorrow.